title of this talk is Making Payments Fun. My name is Justin. I'm with PayPal, Braintree, Venmo. So the way this works is PayPal bought a company called Braintree, Braintree bought a company called Venmo. Has anyone heard of any of those companies besides PayPal? I guess everyone's heard of PayPal, right? And that's my email. I don't know whether you can see it. It's juwoo@paypal.com. Also, you can reach me on Twitter. It's jzwoo. And I'll be posting the slides at this URL, ppd.io/dn. Right now it's not there, but I'll just post that up down there. And for me, I'm like super passionate about payments. Of course, I work for PayPal, but in general, right, like really building like great customer experiences, just really enhancing the shopping experience. And I'll go through a few examples. So yeah, it's making payments fun. The title talk is supposed to be making payments fun, but what I really wanted the title to be is a credit card form walks into a bar. I know that sounds silly, but I'll tell you, I have a few bad jokes in here just to keep it lighthearted, but that's what I wanted the talk to be, a series of bad jokes by Justin Wu. So anyway, bear with me again, it's only an hour talk, so a credit card, this is our first joke here. A credit card form walks into a bar. He says to the bartender, "I've been having a hard time meeting people." The bartender says, "Wait, aren't you supposed to be good at generating interest?" Right? No. Kind of funny, right? Anyway, that's it. Right, I'm done. No. Anyway, so again, series of bad jokes. But no, what I really want to talk about is to start off like how to make payments fun, is really look at ways that merchants do not make it fun to pay for stuff online. Like here, has anyone actually gone through like a bad shopping experience? Like, hey, I want to give you money online, but I can't, right? I mean, who hasn't, right? Everyone's seen that, right? So today, again, with the technology today, with tools we can build, right? There's just tons of ways that people can actually improve the shopping experience. Again, can everyone hear me at the back? Am I clear? Let me know if I'm not. So, GeoCities, anyone remembers this, right? Back in the day, right? I'm sure you've seen your fair share of sites which resemble GeoCities, right? I mean, people can name a ton of them. I'll give you an example here. This is a current site. It's called linestanding.com. Now, it's actually a way for you to pay people to stand in line. I thought that's funny. But just look at the payment form here. Look at the way you want to give money to people online. Like how complicated it is, right? These are things that we're seeing online nowadays that I think can be improved. And I'll go through a few more examples. Again, you can actually pay people to stand in line here. Here's 9 hours in advance, 8 hours in advance. I thought that's kind of funny. Anyway, why is this important, right? If you look at shopping cart abandonment, right, statistics, like it's just, one of the reasons why people don't buy stuff is because they're abandoning a shopping cart, and it's just a ton of reasons why. One of it really is user experience. And across the board here, you can't really see the numbers, but a ton of countries here, and they range all the way from like 40% to like 80%. So you're just losing these customers. So let me go to a few examples on why I feel merchants do not make it fun for payments. First one, ad capture. As you guys know, this is a capture, right? It's supposed to prevent people or bots from actually paying stuff. Prevent bots from actually like hacking a website or entering credit card information, entering user input, right? So I see this in a bunch of non-profit sites actually. Here's one. Here's an example. Here's an example. So I guess my question is, really, I don't think that's necessary, right? If you want a user to give credit card information, like why put a capture in there, right? I think there are a lot easier ways for you to determine whether it's a bot or not. One of it's like validating the credit card number. I'll show you an example later on, and a few others. Has anyone seen a capture on a form and just gotten frustrated with it, right? I mean, just like really, right? I'm trying to give you money. I'm not a robot. Like, why would a robot want to give you money, right? Another thing that I've seen is asking users to register, right? Well, it's not that bad, but asking users to register before purchasing, right? You guys have seen this, right? Like, why do that, right? Here's a classic example. Woot.com. Is anyone familiar with this website here? Woot, right? I think it's the epitome of impulse purchases. So like here, you want to buy like a mattress for like 150, 120 bucks. But before you can do that, they require you to sign in. So you can't even purchase it without even registering for an account. I just think like if you really want someone to purchase something, like remove every single barrier you can, remove all the hindrances, right? And really get to the point of letting the user purchase. So again, they think they're really cool. They give you a couple of options like log into Amazon or of course a Woot account. And here you can't really see it, but they automatically subscribe you to their root email list, which I think, and here they say, they didn't even give you an option to unselect it. I think a lot of designers would agree that, well, you don't really want to sign people up for something unknowingly. And it's even worse on the mobile website, right? Like here on the mobile website, you can't purchase something without actually registering for a user. There's actually a couple of examples. One example here is Etsy, where, you can actually sign up with Facebook, but again, you need to sign up and register with a login before actually entering the site and just giving them money. Now, Walmart actually does, this is Walmart here. I don't know whether you guys can see this in the slides, but they actually do a good example. So not only on the mobile side here do they allow you to sign in, well, that's bad, but on the desktop side, on the left, they actually give you the option to sign in as a guest. So what you can do is, hey, I don't really want to sign up. I can actually purchase something as a guest, and I have the option of signing in or registering for an account later on. Crate and Barrel does the same thing too. They allow you to continue as a guest. Show you an example down here. And what that does is allows you to get straight to the point of like purchasing something. So again, a really great example of someone, allowing you to get straight to the point of purchasing an object, which I honestly think is really cool, right? Has anyone seen this? They're trying to buy something and you're like, well, guys, I don't want to sign up for an account. I just want to give you money, right? And another example here is Home Depot actually. So they've actually given you an option too of signing you up, doing check-in, giving you an account, or signing in as a guest. Another example here of Gerber, who actually gives you a guest checkout. Another thing that I see very common is forcing users to download a native app. Now, if I want to purchase something on a website, why didn't you allow me to do that, right? That's not difficult, right? I've seen a couple of ways where you go to a website and they pop up a screen and they say, well, you can't proceed any further without actually downloading an application. Some sites actually do it a bit more gracefully. I'll show you an example. Like TripAdvisor, they don't force you to download an app to access the site. What they do is they actually have a drop down on the top that gives you the option to open the app that I've got installed here. Or maybe even in Expedia here, right? So what it does is, this is actually at the bottom of the screen. I don't know if you guys can see, but they don't actually pop it up at the top. So only when you've gone through the checkout process, they say, hey, you know what? If you want a better experience, you can download a free app, which I think is really cool. This is one. Here's another example, which I think actually is bad. So when you get to the Avis site, immediately it pops up and says, hey, download the free Avis iPhone app. Now, I know it's free, but I think it's just prohibiting the user from getting to what he wants to do. If I'm going to the Avis website, I just want to rent a car as quickly as possible. Let me do that, and then give me the option later on to download an app. All right, I got another really bad joke here. So a credit card form walks into a bar. The bartender says, why do you keep coming in here day after day? The credit card form looks at him miserably and says, I'm just looking for some validation. Right? Okay. Anyway, really bad joke. But I think in the credit card world, I'll show you a way on how we can actually validate the credit card using a LUN check. These are just payment jokes in the payment space. This is one of my pet peeves here. Don't auto-detect the credit card type, right? I mean, why make me select it? I'll show you how, like, as designers or developers, you can do that, right? Like, I mean, it's just common sense. So this is the credit card itself. It's actually broken down, and the numbers actually, each of them actually represent something. The first three, right, is actually represents a type of credit card. So we start with what we call the major industry identifier, and then we go into the issuer identification number. Anyway, that's a lot of jargon. There's a Wikipedia article on it. Again, this is a blatant copy of Wikipedia. You can look up on it. But I'll show you very easily how people can actually detect the credit cards. So you can't really read this, but in American Express, we know that it always starts with 34 or 37, right? And for Visa, it always starts with the number 4. So that, and then Discover and MasterCard have numbers itself too. That being said, as a developer, you should be able to automatically detect the credit card number and not make the user select that. Again, very simple way of enhancing your shopping experience. Just automatically doing that. Especially on the mobile phone, right? I mean, I want to purchase something with the minimum number of steps here. Payments and promotion, like why do I need to actually do a drop-down box here and select your credit card. Right? You know, worse still, this is another horrible example. And then my favorite example, again, I apologize if anyone works with Dell, is Dell.com, right? I mean, like, this is a technology company, and yet, you know, it requires me to select the credit card type. Right? Very simply, you know, you can actually just automatically detect it. Again, examples here, and actually Home Depot, AutoZone, this one's Foot Locker, and like, of course, Victoria's Secret, my wife was shopping on. But there's actually a bunch of tools out there that will help you detect the credit card type. So you don't actually write that yourself. So let me show you one here. It's called the jQuery. Is anyone a jQuery fan over here? Right? Okay, so this is a really cool one. So what you can do is, again, this is just a plugin into jQuery. What you can do is, see, I'll try this out, and it automatically detects the credit card number, right? I mean, like, really cool. Sorry, 36 is the 44 is the Visa type. And really what you can do is, just by typing the first number, it already detects the credit card type, right? Really, really cool plugin that you can use. Yeah, over there. The other thing you can do, let me continue on down here, is actually limiting the number of digits that the credit card user can type in. Now, what do I mean actually? Each of these credit cards, Amex, Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, actually has a maximum number of digits. With Amex, it's 15 digits. With Visa, we know it's either 13 or 16. With MasterCard, it's 16, and with Discover, it's 16. So when someone actually types in the first digit of the credit card, we know the credit card type. Then we can algorithmically determine the maximum number of digits he or she needs to type into the credit card form. Like, just doing that actually prevents a lot of errors. Let me show you a classic example. So in the credit card industry, we know a valid credit card type is 4 with 15 ones, like in this example. So like with Amazon, they actually don't actually limit the credit card type. So again, I know nobody actually has a credit card type with 4 and a gazillion ones, but actually people do have credit card numbers that append at the back with like a ton of ones or twos, right? And so with that, if you limit the number of digits, the user doesn't run into the error of entering too many numbers into the credit card form. Here's a classic example with Google Wallet. So again, I know nobody has a credit card with 4 and a ton of ones, but here's an example, right? So, you know, I can type in 4111, keep going on, and I can go on forever. So again, a very simple way of, you know, just validating whether the user typed in his credit card information. Very simple way. Let me show you this example here of what I feel is an amazing library that does a great job of actually doing that. Again, feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions or if I'm going too fast at all. So this is one here that I think is a great example. I don't know where you guys can see that. Let me see whether I can zoom in a bit here. Okay. All right. So this is a really cool example. Again, it's only one text field, but I'll show you. In one text input field, you can enter in the credit card number, the expiration date, and the CVS or CVV number, which we call just the validation number. So let me show you right here. So immediately what I do is, again, this is great for mobile phones. See, I type in 4111 and it detects that it's a Visa card, right? And it knows the number of digits and actually spaces out the digits correctly. So we know that on your Visa credit card, what it does is actually you type in 4 digits, space 4 digits, space 4 digits. I mean, we see on your credit card, it's going to look exactly like that, right? And once it reaches the maximum number of digits, it goes straight into the expiration date. So then I can type that in, and then I can type the CVV number, and then the zip code, maybe like 47906. And again, as a mobile phone user, like this is immensely easy for me to type in, right? Because I have one input keyboard, I don't need to go to another form or another form field, and I can type in all the information you need right there and then. Right? Isn't that like really cool? Yes?
I just like to expand on that from personal experience. Supporting copy paste into those fields, you should automatically throw away your not digits, not because of screw up the link. This is being off. So it's the same validation you're talking about. You already know that it's X number of digits. If I type in 4 digits in a space, throw the space away. You don't care, but don't reject it. Just acknowledge it, throw it away, and keep going.
Yes,
So
okay.
you should be able to almost any way that number, this is for phone numbers too, right? Almost any way you can think of it being represented, I should be able to type it that way.
Absolutely. And again, I apologize. So what was your name again? James. And James made a really good point. His point is, if you're typing in any form of number, like credit cards or phone numbers, sometimes the user likes to put in a space, right? As in like 425 space. What you should do as a developer is throw away that space. Don't invalidate it, but throw it away and still recognize it as a valid input. Right, James, that's what I'm talking about, right? I mean, you really don't want to hinder the user from entering any information. You want to make it as seamless as possible. So whatever the user is comfortable with, you should be able to accept that, right? Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you, James, for that. Thank you. All right, so again, what we call the card security number. So this is very important. I think most people know it. But what we've seen is a lot of classic examples of really, if the user doesn't know what a card security number is, really confusing the user with a bunch of text and jargon, right? And I think in this case example, what I like to point out is that, I don't know where you can see, but some of the circles are not even correctly identified. Like in this example here, some of the circles don't even match where it's put even. Yeah, and a bunch of text and information that sometimes can be confusing to the user. And I'll show you examples where I think are better in this case, right? Here's another example. I'm not saying it's bad, but I think it can be improved on. And I'll show you, these are examples I want to show you on the web, just to give you an idea of what people are doing out there. This is one I really don't like, where it's just like a bunch of text, right? You really want it to be some sort of pictorial sense. And here too. Right? So another thing that you should, I think most people who have either a MasterCard or Visa or an American Express know there's a difference between each of them. So what we call in the credit card industry, MasterCard and Visa, we call it a card verification value that's on the back of the card, whereas American Express is a CID on the front of the card. So really that's all you want the user to know, and that's all you want the user to identify, right? So let me show you a really cool example of what this person did over here. And again, what I'm showing you are all libraries, right? So you can take all this code, right? And this is it from the GitHub repository, and you can put it into your checkout experience. So let me show you here. I think this is really, really cool here. So it's already typing it in, but let me show you. So 41111, not only does it show you what type of card it is, Visa, right? And it shows you, of course, where the name is. Let's say Justin Wu, the CVV, but it flips over and it tells you where it is, right? How cool is that, right? Just really pictorial, how it shows you really seamlessly where the credit card identification number is. Oh, and let me show you this other example here too. This is a really cool example too. So it changes, right? And again, as you can see, what happens is it correctly positions the numbers as they are on your credit card. Type in your name, and then what you can do is you can flip to the other side and see where it is immediately, right? And type that in. So really, really cool way, a cool user experience of. Can everyone see this, by the way, or did you want me to expand it? At the back, can you guys see it? Okay, you may expand it out, or let me do it one more time then. Okay. So again, what you can do is all these are inputs, right? And as you're typing in the credit card, it transforms to a Visa card. Then what I can do is flip it over to show you, hey, this is something that you've forgotten, right? And put in the CVV number. You guys can see that? So again, a really cool way of enhancing your shopping experience, right? Making it delightful and fun for the user to do something as mundane as typing in your credit card information, right? Really cool. And again, this is all libraries that we can do. Okay, I got one more joke here. An American Express walks into a bar in Moscow. The bartender says, "Sorry, mate, you aren't allowed in here without a visa." Right? Okay. Another bad joke. Another thing I don't like here that I think merchants can do to improve stuff is not provide me a calendar view when selecting dates. Let me show you what I mean here. So this is a classic example of a travel site that shows me a scrollable list when I'm simply selecting the date. Now, I think a lot of you guys know that when you're buying like airplane tickets or railway tickets or car or rental tickets, is that you may not necessarily know the date that you're buying it, but you may know the day, right? You may know that it's like next week. So what a lot of us do on a mobile phone is they look up the date, right? They enter in the date, and then they try to enter the date, and they're like, oh, what date is it? So they switch to the calendar view, they find the date, and then enter it in. Why not be as simple as just providing the user with a way to select the calendar date, or look at a calendar which they recognize and select the date? Right? Like make it as simple and seamless for the user to detect the date that they want to purchase the tickets. Right? And again, as you can see, like everyone's familiar with from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday calendar view. Why not just show that calendar view and select it there? Right? Make it as seamless and possible for that. Remember I talked about validation, right? Not validating the credit card field online. So what I'm talking about, I think as those in the credit card industry will know, is that actually what you can do is you can actually use the LUN algorithm to validate the credit card. What do I mean by that? So every credit card itself has an algorithm to check to see whether it's a valid credit card. Again, this is the algorithm, but I'll show you in more detail later on what it is. Again, what I talked about is the first few digits is the bank identification number. After that is the account number. The last digit is the check digit. Again, there's a lot of jargon, but I think it's better if I show you a practical example. So this is a credit card number itself. And this is a valid credit card number. Why? The first thing I need to do is flip it around. So you can see I took the 4 in the front and I put it to the 4 at the back. And then of course 9 in the front, move 9 to the back. After that, I doubled every second digit. So you can see 9, 1, the 1 became a 2, 1 still 1, and then 1 became a 2. So every second digit I doubled it. And then what I do is I add up all the digits, and then I make sure that it's divisible by 10. Again, I added up all the digits, then I make sure that's divisible by 10. If that's the case, then the credit card is valid. If not, the credit card is invalid. So what you can do is the moment the user finishes entering the credit card number, you can run the LUN algorithm to determine whether the user entered in a valid credit card type. So like here, like a lot of websites actually do this after they've entered the credit card number. What you can do is actually do it when they enter the credit card number. And here's a great example of, you can't really read this, but it says, it's even worse, right? It's not only does it not detect where's a credit card number, but it says, hey, you know, don't put it into spaces, don't put dashes in between. Even Amazon doesn't even do the LUN check. So, and I'll show you an example later on of a credit card form that actually does a LUN check automatically. Another one of my pet peeves is like long scrollable lists. I think especially when selecting like a state, right? I mean, in America we have like 55 states, right? 50 states. 50? 56? 50. I'm horrible. Plus a few other. So here, I guess, you know, when you're doing a trip, I mean, you don't want the user to scroll through a bunch of states, especially on a mobile phone, just to select the state that they're in, right? Why not allow the user to enter in, like here, or especially countries, right? So for countries, I mean, a ton of countries out there. You don't want the user to scroll through a ton of lists, especially on a mobile phone to select a country. Why not allow them, as they're searching for a country, just enter in a few alphabets and then select the country. Like so, in here they actually entered in UN, and then it detected, well, it could be United States, United Kingdom, and you select correctly. It even went one step further, and it typed in HO, and it was correctly identified, hey, are you talking about the Netherlands instead? So like really quickly allowing the user to enter in the country or the state, right? Just by typing it out, right? Because you don't want them to scroll through the entire list. Another one of my things that I encounter a lot looking at merchants is not showing the appropriate keyboard layout. So like here, we all know that the credit card number is going to be a number, right? But in this classic example, it shows the alphabetical keyboard, and then the user needs to switch to the numerical keyboard to type in the card number, right? And And here are examples too. Even the phone number, you just switch over down there. These are great. These are good examples actually. Actually, this is a bad example. So they've actually identified that the credit card number itself is a numerical keyboard. They showed the numerical keyboard, but on the card security code, which they know too is a numerical input, they show the alphabetical keyboard. Right? I mean, if you already know how to do that, why didn't you show that? There's actually this website called mobileinputtypes.com that teaches you, and for those who don't know, how to correctly show the right keyboard layout. Again, this is the website. So with email, what you can do, I know you guys can't probably see this, but all you need to do is say input type equals the email, and it's going to show the keyboard, the email layout, again with the @ symbol over there. And then telephone, it says input type equals to tel, and it'll show the telephone number. Again, like very simple way of showing the right keyboard layout to the user. Another really cool thing that iOS just released in iOS 8 is the ability to scan credit cards in a web page. Right? Has anyone actually seen this before? Like, so you go to a website and you have the ability to scan a credit card. Right? It's one of those things like you're like, oh man, that's like kind of magic. Right? When I saw it, let me just show you what I mean here. So, and again, this is the Amazon web page right there. Oh, this is a bit tough to see, right? But when I type in the card number, yeah, well, thank you so much. Thank you, yeah, thank you. So I don't know if you guys can see, there's a few things, if you can see it, and what I'll do is I'll explain it, is that not only is this the Amazon.com web page, but it gives you the ability to actually scan the credit card. So over there, there's actually an option here to scan the credit card, and it'll bring up the camera, and then you can position your card down there to scan it. Now, I'm not going to scan my credit card in front of you guys, just in case. It wouldn't be a good idea. But again, it's a web page, right? The web page itself is not even a native app. You can bring up the camera, and all the user needs to do is position this camera in front of the credit card, and it can scan it. Right? I mean, like, how cool is that? So the user does no longer needs to enter in the credit card information. The unfortunate thing, iOS is normally pretty decent with the documentation. But in this example, there aren't a lot of documentation. Actually, here they say you have to thank Apple for the amazing, like this from Stack Overflow, of documentation around this. The only documentation I could find really is that Stack Overflow article. And again, it's what they've done really simply is simply say that the input name equals to add credit card number. Now let me increase the font here. Right? If you say the input name equals to add credit card number and a couple of other examples that work, what you can do is when the user selects that input, it gives the option to scan the credit card itself. Did everyone sort of see that or explain it? Right? Again, I just wanted to reiterate, this is a mobile web page, and you're able to allow the user, instead of entering the credit card information, to scan the credit card. And there's a couple of big name brands like Amazon that are already doing that. Another thing that I think people should do is not disable autocorrect when appropriate, right? Okay, so I think everyone's seen their favorite like autocorrect jokes here. There's a couple of jokes on there. But where it really frustrates the user is, hey, I'm entering an address, right? And a lot of addresses are not in autocomplete, the autocomplete dictionary. So what I recommend and I think is appropriate is actually turn it off. And what you can do is really simply turn it off in your input type. Just by doing that, it doesn't frustrate the user into, hey, accidentally turning on autocorrect, right? So again, this is a very simple way to do that. So again, I'm from Braintree, PayPal, and I'll show you a way that we've tried to simplify the process of you adding a credit card type form. I'll just show you an example. And anyway, let me show you about a simple application that I built. So again, bear with me. I have a dog actually here who is blind, but he thinks he can see. And this is a cute photo of him. So anyone goes like so cute and everything, right? But people always want to pet him, especially kids. So I wrote an application that charges people when they want to pet him. I know what you're thinking, right? I'm an asshole. No. I'm actually trying to raise money for his eye surgery, I promise. But let me show you about the application that I wrote here. Again, it's a web page down here. So what I need to do, I don't know if you can see, is simply add a way to pet Benji. And at Braintree, again, if you go here, I won't go too much into it, but you go to Braintree, well, payments, this is our SDK in order to set payments really quickly. I'll show you it's really simple. You just include a JavaScript, and here's your form. But what's most important is this small section of JavaScript here, right here. So all you need to do, literally, is take that and just copy into your script. You save it, right? And just like that, what happens is it pops up an iframe with the credit card form. And what we've tried to integrate is an easy way for people to pay using Bitcoin or PayPal, right? So I'll show you the credit card form that we built. Again, it automatically detects the credit card type, right? I don't know if you guys can see. Let me just zoom in a bit here. And what it does is it correctly spaces out the credit card numbers and then limits the number of digits, right? And then remember I talked about the LUN check? So if I type in an invalid credit card number, it will tell me, right? Because it will do that LUN check. Again, like very seamless way for you to do that. So again, this is an American Express card. And what you can do is, you see for the Visa, we actually did, it's 4 digits and 4 digits. For the American Express, it correctly shows 4 digits and then 6 digits, right? And again, it does a LUN check if you enter an invalid credit card type. So this is something that we did. Again, there's a ton of other companies out there that provide similar SDKs or libraries for you to create beautiful, what I think, I think it's just more seamless checkout experiences. So I know I've talked a lot about not so great examples, right? That I feel are like examples that merchants do to not make it fun. But let me talk about what I've seen are some classic examples of how people actually taking it to the next level, right? Taking shopping experiences to a greater level, to making it even easier. The first example is what I call like worldwide window shopping, which really is a way for shoppers to quickly discover and buy products on a wider variety of platforms. So, you can't really see this, but here are like 3 classic examples. First one being an interesting startup called Browsy. And what they do is they make Pinterest boards automatically shoppable. So has anyone here heard of Pinterest, right? It's really a website whereby you can select objects on different web pages and pin them to your board, what they call. So you can just shop from. It's a very popular application out there. And then Soulsea is a way for you to actually monetize your Facebook, Instagram. What you can do is people can comment on your Facebook profile, and if there's an object they want to buy, all they can do is comment sold, and then once they comment, they can purchase it. Another great example are what I call snap to buy. So like Target and SnapUp and Haiku are great examples of merchants that allow you simply to take a photo of an item in their store and purchase it. So what it's going to do is, it's going to use image recognition technology, recognize the object, and then you can check whether it's available in the store, and then purchase from the app itself. The last one, Hiku, is really cool, right? You can actually scan the barcodes in your household, in your refrigerator, and what it's going to do is, it's going to maybe automatically detect whether you're running out of that particular object, and then order it for you. Another one is what I've seen in examples are like what we've called as personal storefronts. So the one in the center, Crawler, is an app that gives you a vertical feed, somewhat similar to like Instagram. And that app gives you a way for you to shop using a very similar user experience to what people are familiar with. And Clinique, like a very famous makeup brand, what they've done is they've realized that a lot of people want the in-house store experience, but may not may not be able to get that over the web. So they've created an app for you to sort of watch information videos and live chat with online representatives. Again, great examples. This is an interesting one. So Urban Outfitters, what it does is actually so it's kind of maybe invasive, but Urban Outfitters, there's actually an app down here whereby depending where you walk in the store, it will send you different messages. I think the example that they give is that if you're in a changing room, they sort of prompt you to take selfies. I don't know whether anyone will do that, but it's something that they do. And Quirky, the last one on the left, what they do is actually detect the weather, right? So if it's hot or it's cold, they actually show you objects depending on that. So in the instance where let's say it's over like 75 degrees Fahrenheit, they'll show you advertisements of air conditioners, allow you to buy that. A pre-programmed transaction, one of my favorites. So the first one, so there's this object called Dorothy that you put in your shoes. And then when you actually click your heels together, it will actually order an Uber for you in the location where you are at. Again, taking it to the next level, right? Or Zappos, right? It knows what shoes you buy and like how fast it actually wears it out. So once your shoes wear out or it's been worn it's actually been, let's say you've been running for a certain number of miles, it could track that mileage and then instantly order a new pair of shoes for you. So again, so you don't really need to think about it. It sort of does whatever you're thinking about immediately. Like really, really cool. The one in the center, Walgreens, that I really like is that as you walk into the store, it shows you an interactive map of where the items are located. And what you can do is, let's say I'm searching for a particular item. Let's say the store is really big. It show me a map of the store and like how to get there. So it's sort of in-house map into the store. Stock nearby is something that I use, which is, hey, is there an item which is in stock nearby for me to buy it? And then of course with purchasers, like we've talked about authentication. So things like, this is a Canadian company called Nimi. What they do is in order to buy something, it detects your heartbeat, right? And it knows that, hey, if you're the right heartbeat, you are who you say you are, and it allows you to purchase that object. So again, taking it to the next level. A lot of brands actually realize that people of influence are very precious to them, right? There's a lot of investment into that. So a lot of big name brands actually give you discounts if you are a personal influence, or if you simply, like in the case of Marc Jacobs, tweet out a certain hashtag to give you a discount on the store, or allow you to buy something at a discount. And then like One Piece, if you're an Instagram follower with like 40,000 followers, they actually give you a discount on an object too. Omni currency exchange, I think people might be, is anyone familiar with Bitcoin here, right? So I think some merchants are starting to accept that as a way for people to buy stuff because they're recognizing that may be the next form of currency. Companies like Fastercrest allow you to pay for objects using like money, using airtime, airline miles, a couple of other ways that you can pay for it. And then for us, of course, Venmo. We really try to make it seamless using a mobile wallet. Another example here is to reward people with loyalty, right? So as people collect loyalty points, like a couple of these examples, Bit2Pay, Thanks, and Taobao, what they do is they reward you for coming back and purchasing something. And they give you a lot of great examples on, hey, before you buy, you can log in and you can get discounts based on that. So these are other examples. So I think the Starbucks example is the one that sticks out to me. So what they're trying to do is trying to figure out whether this is an example where before I even hit the coffee shop that I go to every day, it's going to automatically order the cup of coffee that I drink every morning. So if I go to the one around the corner, it knows where my location is. As I'm approaching the store, it automatically detects that. Reserve is an app where you can reserve the table, actually purchase the dinner all through the app. So you don't even need to pay, you don't need to do anything. Just within that app, you can reserve the table, order your food, and pay for the bill. Again, taking it to the next level, right? Okay, so bear with me, I've got one more joke here. So a credit card form walks into a bar. The bartender says, "You are new to this joint, aren't you?" The credit card form looks at him and says, "Yeah, I just discovered it." Anyway, bad jokes, but again, I wanted to keep it light-hearted. Again, before you go, again, you can use these jokes at the happy hour later, maybe, or not. Yeah, so that's the end of my talk. Again, I'm Justin Wu. You can contact me on Twitter. There's my email, and I'll put my slides up there, ppd.io/dn. And with that, I'll take it. Anyone have any questions or any stories that they like to share with user experience advice? Just at all. All right. Thank you for coming, and I appreciate it. And enjoy the beer later on. Thank you. Thank you.